today we're doing titration of vinegar. We're going to determine the percentage of acetic acid in vinegar. For that, we're going to do the following. This is our burette. It's right here. We have it over there in that corner of the lab. You're going to take the burette and you're going to wash it with water. How are you going to do so? By just taking this and washing it with water, all right? Like this, the burette is open. Like this, the burette is closed. Once that you have done so, we're going to have our solutions of sodium hydroxide and the vinegar, okay? Once that you have done so, you're going to take sodium hydroxide, how much? Just a little bit, and you're going to add to this, right? And rinse it, just making sure that the burette has sodium hydroxide inside, just to cure it. Once that you have done that, we're going to place our burette here. This is how it goes. Let me just take a minute to show you how this works. The clamp goes like this. It has a hole here. We place it right here and we secure it like this, all right? And we just open it and we place our burette. Once that we have done that, we're gonna do the following. We're gonna take a funnel, a plastic funnel, we're gonna put it in the top, and we're gonna take our sodium hydroxide and bring it here, all the way to the top. Make sure that now you open it, let it drain, and there is liquid inside the tip. When you have done so, you can add more sodium hydroxide to bring the volume all the way to 0. You start at 0. All right? We're gonna take a flask. Each group is gonna use 3 flasks like this. 3 of this. All right? What are we gonna do? In each flask, you're going to place 2 milliliters of vinegar. How are we going to determine the volume of vinegar? We need to be very specific. We're going to use the grout cylinder. 2 milliliters of vinegar and 25 milliliters of water in each flask. After you have done so, you take phenolphthalein, it's right here, and you're going to add 1 drop to your solution. Once that we have done it, we have the setup ready. We're gonna place our flask here. Please notice that there is a white paper here. If you have it, that will be awesome. We have it right here, and we are going to start with titration. What is gonna happen? Our solution is colorless, and it's gonna pass from colorless to pink as we go from a solution that is acidic to a solution that is basic or slightly basic. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna have your burette here and you're gonna open it very slowly, and as it drips the sodium hydroxide, you're gonna be making sure that they are mixing, right? Until the color turns from colorless to pink. When that happens and the pink remains, because you're gonna see that it turns pink, and once that you do this, the pink goes away. So you go back and you add a little bit more, and like that. Once that the pink remains here and you see the color, then you stop and you have finished your titration. Let's say that you started at 0 and that was your initial burette reading, correct? You're gonna read your final volume. That's the volume that you use to turn to pink your solution. Let's say that is 15. I'm just making up numbers here, all right? Let's say that is 15. Now you have finished your first titration. What are you gonna do? You're gonna do your second titration. So your initial here is gonna be the final here. So your initial will be 15. And your final, maybe 30.5, correct? If your volume if your volume has gone lower than 30, it is a good idea to put more sodium hydroxide to the top. In that way, we can control how much volume you have. All right? So that is your procedure. Once that you have done the 3 titrations per group, you're good to go. You finish your data, collection data, and you can dispose this in the sink. Any sodium hydroxide that is in here, if it's cured, we can put it back into the flask where you took it from. If you're not sure if you mix it with water or anything, you will get a bottle from Fowler to dispose it in there, and we'll be in good shape. All right? So let's talk about what we're doing today. The reaction that we're doing is a titration. It's a reaction between an acid and a base. The product of this reaction is a salt and water. So, as you see over here, we have sodium hydroxide. The very first thing you need to do is write down the molarity of sodium hydroxide. It's written right here. It's standardized by our lab tech. Is 0.0994 molar. That is the molarity of our sodium hydroxide. All right? So what are we doing? We're going to find the volume of sodium hydroxide that we use. In this case, it's really easy. It will be 15 minus 0, correct? Let's call this A, B, and C. The volume of sodium hydroxide that you use will be B minus A. Everyone understanding that? Now, we need to take that volume of sodium hydroxide and convert that to liters. How will you do that? It's in milliliters, right? So what do? Divided by 1,000. Very good. So you take C and divide C by 1,000. That's how you get the liters. Now we're going to find the moles of sodium hydroxide. What is the equation for molarity? Moles over volume in liters. Very good. Do you have the molarity of sodium hydroxide? Yes, it's right here. Do you have the volume in liters of sodium hydroxide? Yes. We just calculated. It's D, right? So we find the moles of sodium hydroxide. Because this is the equation and the equation is balanced, what do we see? How many moles of sodium hydroxide do we have? And how many moles of acetic acid? 1. So the moles of acetic acid are going to be basically equal to the moles of sodium hydroxide. Does that make sense? All right. We have the moles of acetic acid. The next thing is to find the grams. How will you find the grams? To convert from moles to grams using the molar mass of acetic acid. Very good. All right, so you have the moles of the grams of acetic acid. Now, what is the volume of vinegar that you use? It's the same for each flask. It's going to be 2 milliliters, correct? So we're going to find the mass of vinegar. How do you find the mass of vinegar? Density equals mass over volume. Do you have the density? Yes, it's given. Do you have the volume? Yes, it's 2 milliliters, so you're going to find the mass of vinegar. And then your percent mass will be what? The percent mass is going to be the grams of acetic acid that you found over here, divided by the mass of vinegar that we found over there with the density, times 100. So each group is going to do 3 titrations. You're going to show me the results, and then we'll go from there. Thank you.